There we go, that's a little better. Okay. Alright. Mostly on time today. Almost on time. I would have been on time, but I was trying to clean up our mat here. It was a little fuzzy, as it gets. So I was trying very carefully, very gently, to scrape off some of the fuzz. And we've got it a little bit cleaned up. I mean, it's still a little it's a little puffy. Like, it's not completely flat, but it's a little better, I think. Alright, so just trying to make sure that we are good to go here. The one thing says we're good, the other thing's not too sure yet. So we are working on our gingerbread house pieces. I did do a little bit offline, and I recorded that. That's up on the YouTube channel. So on the excuse me, on the offline stuff, I finished up the final polished pass over here, and then I started doing the rough pass, and well, I didn't start, I got the rough pass done, and then I started the polished pass over here. Okay, well, Stream Elements says we're good, so Twitch dashboard's still not too certain about this, but we're gonna go with it. Alright, I think we're live. We should be. Alright, so I've been working on the display board as well as I've had time. Let's see if I can get this bad boy in here. So kind of, I was using my white wool on the base of this, but then I was like, oh, I'm gonna run out of white wool. I picked up a thing of polyfill to do Christmas ornaments with, but I didn't think I was gonna need the whole thing, so I actually grabbed some of the polyfill. I was like, you know, the polyfill texture feels and looks a bit more like snow than, say, the yarn. So, like, this is the yarn and this is the polyfill. So I just started doing the polyfill, and it was actually needle felting pretty good through our felt and into our styrofoam. I was surprised. I wasn't sure if it was gonna work. There's a couple of spots where it's not consistently white because it's polyfill and it goes inside of things. So I might just take a little bit of watered down acrylic white paint and just kind of swirl it on here just to kind of lighten the polyfill up a little bit, maybe. We'll see, because some areas look a little gray. That could be picking up the ink from here, but I don't know, I wasn't real happy about that, so I was like, fuck. So, you know, it was just like going disastrous on me, so I was like, well, we'll see about the white paint once I get the final layer down. And the polyfill is actually covering a good bit of ground. I almost have this side covered. It's a good amount. I'm pretty zoomed in, so that's why it's hard to see. But it's about, you know, the good size, like, textbook piece on the one side, and we still have to touch this other. So yeah, like, this was the yarn. So, you know, we'll see what happens with that. I've been working on that at night when it gets too late to do other things. Alright, so we're working on our final pass on this last tall side. And I'm just kind of grabbing a section of fluff and just kind of doubling up a little bit because we are pretty thin on that rough pass there. Now I haven't separated these two yet. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do their icing outline first and then separate them. That's probably what I'll do, just to try to make life a little bit easier. Alright, so can we see? We can kind of see. Let me see. Do we need to... I wish I had a proper zoom on this camera. I don't, so bear with me. Alright, that's probably a little bit better. We have to do it the old way. Alright, actually, let's see about starting up here, I suppose. Alright, so we're just gonna... This is gonna be like a thicker pass, like we had started out doing on the other one. So if I end up doing long stretches of this project off stream, just so we can get to the fun bits faster, be prepared to be hearing the same music over and over again, because there's very little holiday music that the YouTube library has that won't get my ass in trouble. So there's a little bit, but I might have to keep looping the same couple, and I do apologize if that ends up being the case. We will see how that goes, because I might end up doing a lot of the base work on our house sides off stream, maybe at some point, because, you know, super busy. But I also have to keep track of the time for coming up into our holiday season here, because I've got a few things I had wanted to do. Not sure I'm gonna have the time to do them. If I could get the base sorted, then you know, that would be super helpful at speeding this stuff along here. See, I didn't really think that was fully attached. It kind of looked it, but at the same time, it's kind of like, I don't know about you. So I'm still not real sure about how I feel on this bit of felt. I mean, it definitely seems to bunch in a bit more. Had a bit of a gap in there that I did not want. Wasn't terribly noticeable, but I could see it, so it was bothering me. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's bunching because we're working in the middle and not on the edge at all. That could be. Really won't know how I fully feel about it until we really start working on a bigger piece or something else. So I mean, if we end up using this stuff for the embroidery hoop, then yeah, we're not going to be able to go much bigger than the 5-inch hoop, I think. So I still need to get some preliminary sketches done, or concept sketches done, for the next two Bob Ross pieces, because I'm kind of at a loss looking at them. The one's kind of not exactly monotone, but mostly, and that could present us with a slight problem. So I might have to change some of the colors around, and I mean, that's fine. Bob always says he's just trying to teach techniques in the way to go about something, or, you know, teaching you or giving you ideas about what you can do with some of his products, and that's fine. So I mean, we're just kind of not using his products for what we were doing, but just kind of, you know, looking at how he was making the things and placement and that sort of stuff, and just trying to bring that concept to a small degree over to this medium. So it doesn't have to fully... Sorry, something touched my leg. I'm extra paranoid today. Last night I was sitting here and Russell was in the other room, and he was talking to me on Discord. We were typing back and forth because he was on his phone getting ready for bed, and I looked over at the monitor to see what he had said, and there was a spider like right in my face. It was almost in my hair, and I was like, oh my god. So I kind of like had a bit of a not happy moment, shall we say, and I'm surprised I didn't break my foot, because I kicked something under my desk in my panic. I thought I had either broken something under the desk or had, you know, hurt myself, but I was like, oh god, oh god, oh god. So I've had, when I was younger, I had a daddy longlegs spider that was like the size of my hand come down from the ceiling and land on my head and like walk across me and like down my face. So I was not enthused by seeing this much smaller spider hanging right there, and I was like, oh, it was not good. I yelped. I was surprised Russell didn't hear me. It seemed a lot louder with the high ceilings, I guess, than it actually was, but because I was kind of trapped for a moment, because I was like, oh god, it's gonna land on me, and like he was kind of in my way for me to get up too, and I was like, oh, this isn't gonna be good. So I was just having my own little meltdown. But yeah, anyhow, might have to adjust some colors to make it work, but I think that one's gonna be one where I definitely need to sit down and look at what colors I do have and how we could fit that in and make it work. You know, so We'll see. But there's also another one that's not, again, it's not quite monotone, but it's like pastel-y shades of like 2 or 3 colors, and I'm like, it's definitely a limited color palette, and I don't know yet how I'm gonna approach that. That's probably gonna be another one where I kind of need to sit back, watch the tutorial with my full attention, look at what I have in front of me, and see what we may be able to do. And if I just don't think I'm quite there yet, or if I don't quite have the right shades to pull it off, we may skip one of those. That might have been one of the ones I was originally thinking I was gonna have to skip, because I thought we were gonna skip 2 when I was first looking at the series, but you know, that was like almost a year ago, and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning when I got this idea. And you know, for some reason ideas just sound better, and you know, yeah, this will totally work, we can totally do this at 2 a.m. And then, you know, when you're looking at it at 8 p.m., you're kind of like, oh, I'm suddenly not so sure about this. I don't know if this one's gonna work. Because I'm like, would have had to have had it in my head that I could pull it off with the original set of yarn colors, so that's why I'm kind of looking at this and I'm like, did I really think I could do this? Did I actually fully pay attention to this tutorial and what he was doing, or was I just looking at the colors? And I'm like beginning to think I must have just been looking at the colors, because now, you know, I don't think I was fully paying attention to what he actually did there, so I'm like, yeah, regrets may have been, missed decisions perhaps may have happened here, but we'll see. Here, I'm gonna get this little tail tucked up here. I'm not giving up on them yet, but there are a few projects I want to work on. We'll have more time soon, I think, maybe. Although I don't know, I say that, and stuff kind of happens. So, I would like to think I'm gonna have some more time soon, but we're also getting down into nitty-gritty of beta testing for Dragonflight, and I need to spend some time doing that for excuse me, oh, these allergies, for Lita over at Well Challenges. So we have 2 shows coming up to talk about all of that. Alright, now I know this one I'm not like right up on the edge, but we're gonna have our quote-unquote icing outline coming in. So that should pretty much take care of any of the unevenness that might be trying to be a pain. That was a very loud vehicle. Kind of sounded like a tractor trailer. There's one or two that tend to go by. So I feel like they either... That was a pickup truck. I feel like the tractor trailer company, or this particular business company, never changed their GPS. Or they're closer to this road than the other road, I don't know. Or I don't know, maybe their drivers just have some weird preference to this road, because they're always going by here 24/7 almost. I'm not really quite sure why. I think they're just passing through. This one looks a little bit darker than this one, so I'm thinking maybe we were a little bit thicker with our fluff. Probably were. Probably were. That's okay. Alright, so moving on. Gotta get this guy all nice and covered. And get him looking like his buddy here. And let's see, my goal today is to at least start the icing outline on one of these. We'll see if that happens. That's my goal. We all know how I am with goals in a timely manner. Okay. So I'm probably gonna have to add a little bit more right in here. And that's okay. I mean, it's like not unexpected. Alright. So it is Sunday. I hope everybody had a fairly decent week. I hope your weekend was good, whatever you decided to do. And that the next week isn't too terrible for you. can't tell if... I think the felt's crooked. So, let's see here. Let me try to see about wrapping you back over. I mean, it's definitely crooked now because I've turned it, but looking at how it was sitting, it looked a little askew, shall we say. Let me pop that guy up off of there. Yeah, so I got a good amount of fuzz off of the top of this mat. Don't know if that's going to be helpful to me or not, but we did get something off of there. All I did was take an X-Acto knife and I was just lightly scraping the top. Just barely touching the blade. And just dragging it across. I wasn't trying to cut anything. I didn't want to damage the pad. But we got a fair bit out of there, more than I was expecting. To be perfectly honest. Alright. More fluffed. Okay. So, I mean, as we get down here, when we finish, then we finish the base part, and we'll be able to have a little bit of fun with this guy. Or start to. I was trying to look around to get ideas for, you know, different candy pieces and whatnot, but don't know. I mean, we can certainly try to make some candy canes and what have you. My goodness, that cat. The one cat keeps jumping on this ottoman that we have alongside the bed for the dogs to get up and down a little bit easier. And every time he jumps on it, it creates this huge thud. And it makes it sound like somebody fell in another part of the house. And I'm like, what was that? Or like a car door slamming outside. It's like that kind of heavy thud. Like, what are you doing? Which is hilarious because the ottoman's really light. Just like, really, buddy? He's in this mindset of the floor is lava, and he's being a bit of a butthead about it. So he's like parkouring all over the place. Even if it means knocking stuff everywhere on his landing, he's like, I'm not touching the floor. I'm just like, kitty, please. The floor is not lava. You've stepped on it multiple times. You know this. He almost knocked my one fan out of the window last night, and I was like, "Sir, can we not?" And he just looked at me and goes, "Meow." Like, okay, I don't know if that's like F you in cat or what, but it certainly felt like it. Alright, so we do have a couple little straggly guys here on the edge. We'll get them cleaned up and trimmed and all that as we get there. Alrighty. Feels kind of weird. Traffic's kind of light. Like, I know it's a Sunday, so there's not the normal getting home from work rush hour traffic. Of course, as I say this, I can hear the traffic start to pick up, but there was a couple festivals around. There was an antique kind of a craft thing going on. I think it was in our town, just down the road by a few blocks, and there was also an apple festival not that far from us. Maybe 15 minutes at the most. Not even. Let's call it 10. And we didn't even realize that that was this weekend until husband drove down to try to pay the property taxes and found out that there was no place to park because they were setting up all of the vendor spots for the Apple Festival, and he's like, "Oh damn." He's like, "Yeah, we have to try this again on Monday." He goes, there's no place to park down there." It's like, shit. That's not good. We can't forget we have to do that tomorrow. Due date's coming. It will be here shortly, and I don't want to pay a penalty when we had it all this time. So, hopefully we can get that dealt with on Monday. Alrighty. So this side doesn't look like I'm getting it quite as thick as the other. But, you know, we'll see what it looks like when we get all of it put in here. And, you know, we'll probably have a couple of splits here and there that will end up filling the gaps in on, as happens. So like right in this section here, it will probably be a little bit thinner. So I'm kind of going in this direction because we did the base kind of quick pass the other way, just to try to in part make sure that all of our pieces were attached, and I feel like we'll have potentially less seams going across than we would up and down. It's probably going to be like the same amount either way. It would just depend on how we are layering them. So, and overlapping and all that. So I'm thinking I don't like to keep pulling this up so much, but I've been a little bit bunchy here. I do have a bit of a seam going in there. Oh, you were loose. Oh goodness. Okay. At least that's what it seemed like. All right. So, I mean, we could potentially come back and cover that over. We'll see how I feel about it when we get to that point. But alright, so I'm just getting some more fluff. I'm trying not to get it too tightly twisted. We can try to avoid too much stripe action. And I do see that we are overlapped here, probably more than I really wanted to be, but that's okay. We still have a fair amount of this color stocked up, so I know we're going to need to make more fluff of this color before we are done. Like, that's pretty much a given. And I did get that how I prep the yarn video up. There is a new playlist on the YouTube channel with all of the needle felting stuff together. I decided to separate it out from the other painting stuff. Just to make things a little bit easier. A little bit easier to find. Now it's okay if we're not like completely straight going across here. Doesn't really necessarily need to be. At least not right now. Although, you know, if you don't want your icing lines straight, they don't have to be either, so you do what you want to do. Alright. Where are we here? Okay, so maybe about here. close to the edge there. That's alright. That is a-okay. Again, I don't have very much pressure on this loose end of the fluff. My fingers are just kind of barely touching it, just to keep it from getting too bunched up down here where we're stabbing through. But I'm not trying to hold it taut. Not right now. I'm slowly chasing it across the table. I really need to put taped grids down so I know where I need to be. Or at least where I'm aiming for. So that way we don't get too off camera here, as tends to happen. So yeah, if you let it do its thing, because you're pulling all of the fibers through, it's gonna like keep grabbing it and pulling it. So eventually it'll probably turn into what looks like a tangled mess, but it's not really. Alright, I'm gonna fold this over just a little bit. And we'll work on getting this all tucked in. So maybe we don't have too much further to go. To finish up this polish pass. I almost finished polishing, or the polished pass off stream, but I had to make more fluff, and then after I was done recording it, I was like, okay, well, I think we're ready for, you know, this weekend's art stream. And then I was like, oh, right, I recorded this, so we're gonna have to post it now. And I was like, oh, yeah, hey, about that. So we're gonna have to edit the video. And I already have another video I'm supposed to be editing, so I'm like, yeah, okay. Don't know when we're gonna have time for that, but sure. Things were not thought through that clearly. I was like, oh damn. I mean, I could not post it, but I could have just saved it all for like the end speed felt of the project, but in the long run, it kind of helps me for the final project because I've already got that bit edited, I suppose. So did anybody do anything that you found exciting over the weekend? Did you go anywhere? Did you just chill? You try to mentally and physically recharge like you're laying on a hot lizard rock. You know, like how the reptiles lay in the sun and don't move except to eat. It's just like, I don't have the mental energy to do anything more but sit here on my lizard rock. So that's what I'm gonna do. So this is what I need to do for me. I don't mean like a literal rock. It could be your most comfiest chair, or whatever. Chair, macrame, rope swing, glider, a big poofy mat, whatever. I mean, it could be a little literal rock if that's what you like to do. Sit out in the woods or whatever. It's very possible. So we have a couple of spots here that I want to put some patches over, because I'm not entirely thrilled. With the placement, but we do need to pull that guy up a bit. So yeah, like, these are the same shape when we started out. This one, I don't know what the fuck happened. This one got all kinds of weird, but I don't know. I don't know if it's because we were so close to the edge over here. I don't know. Like I said, this could look like a less colorful version of A House from Whoville by the time we're done. But that's like half the fun, right? So it makes it our own, right? Fiber's gonna do what fiber wants to do. For the most part. I mean, we can kind of guide it and kind of get it to do what we have in mind for the most part, but in the end, it really is gonna do what it chooses to. Alright. See about filling in this gap over here. And it really wasn't like a split that happened, it was just because I didn't get it lined up quite right, and that's fine. I just go in and make a little yarny patch and tap it in and then move on. Okay. Just getting this a little bit more sorted in here. Yeah, so I think we'll leave these two attached until we get our outlining done. Probably gonna maybe make things a little bit easier. Yeah, I don't know. It might make things a little bit easier on this guy. We will see. Oh, we got a little bit higher there than I necessarily wanted. One of the downsides of turning this and me not fully seeing how far over we are overlapping here. I mean, again, it's not a huge deal with the extra overlapping. Might have to turn it back sideways just a little while. Just to make it a little bit easier to see what the heck we're doing over here. Alright, I am gonna pull this guy up gently. So, okay, we've got about this much more to deal with here. This side anchored in. Remember, I'm trying to stay in the white lines, not on them, inside them. For right now. As we work on getting this sorted and anchored on our next pass across. I might need to put a little bit more in that spot. And that's okay. If that's what has to happen, that's what has to happen. I'll have a better idea when we pick this guy up. And get a better look at him. It's mostly because there were some larger gaps that didn't get any of the base coloration pass on it. So it just means that our final coloring pass will just have to be a little bit thicker in those spots. But all in all, not too bad. So, I mean, this is probably what would be the more boring section, I guess, just trying to get that final coloration done before decorating, so you're happy with the thickness of the color. See, I might end up putting another little patchy guy. Right into here. Yeah, I think that's gonna need a little bit. Not a huge amount. Just a little something. Like right over that piece. And I might just put another little patch over there. What's wrong?
I found out why nothing was working.
Why?
Okay, so when you're writing in CSS and you're trying to change the settings of a document, you normally have to put it within a style tag.
Mm-hmm.
The program I am using made it so that users don't have to add the style tag, but didn't document that in any way I could find. Which means all I had to do for the past 3 hours to fix it is to delete 2 lines.
Welcome to the world of coding.
I am so pissed. Oh my god.
So, how did you figure this out?
By looking very carefully at another example and realizing what was missing. Because you don't normally notice those lines because you assume they're supposed to be there because that's how it works. But turns out, no, they have something special in their setup.
Coding!
Oh, fucking god. 3 hours.
That's usually how it goes. It's one of these things is not like the other. Excuse me. Oh, my sinuses are attacking me so bad. It's not COVID, I know that. It's just my nasal allergies are terrible. They're always terrible. This time of year and in the spring, they usually like full on attack me to the point that I can't even talk. I lose my voice. I'll get like fucking sinus infection level shenanigans happening. And last year it wasn't too bad for some reason. I kept expecting it to happen and it didn't. However, this year seems to be a completely different story. Alright, so let's see here. Just want a little patchy guy. I have tape that I put over the edge of my desk because my desk is falling apart. But it wrinkled, right? So a piece of it is sticking up, and I'll keep trying to move my mat around, my blue mat, and it won't move, and I'm like, what is this stuck on? I'm like, oh, the tape. So since I'm chasing this everywhere today, let me see if I can purposely hook it up under that piece of tape to at least keep everything from sliding out of camera view. Alright, that's still a little bit thin in that one spot. Right about there. So yeah, this is probably like the longest, I don't want to say tedious, but the more time consuming part is just getting your base coloration down. So I want to going to be easier to make sure this is thick enough, I think, on this pass than it will be later. Alright. So now I kind of want to work a little bit down there, but we should probably finish working in one spot. Before moving too far. Although if you want to jump around, I mean, I can't stop you. Sometimes you need to jump around just to get a different view for a little bit. What was the banging? Oh, he didn't actually walk in. He was banging something out in the other room. No idea what he was doing. What's the matter?
Hmm?
What was banging?
Oh, I had to break up the ice cream.
Oh. Alright, so we'll get this put in. Yeah, this piece is gonna need another pass here, so I'm just gonna flip this guy over on itself. Might as well. Right? Might as well. Okay, so we're gonna need to patch that little spot in there. And just a bit. That was a little bit thinner than I wanted it to be. Is everything okay? What's the matter?
I'm just... The day continues. It's okay.
Well, what's wrong? Because you picked up your keys.
Oh, I was going to go get your load of cigarettes, but it's 5 o'clock and I don't want to go out right now.
It's Sunday.
I don't care.
Okay.
She wants me to go to the gas station, and I don't want to go there at 5 o'clock when everyone's going to be running in there. You know, hillbilly place.
Oh. Yeah, no. A lot of the people in this town don't...
Next time they're open till 10 p.m. Yeah, I'll just go when it gets dark.
Don't, respect personal space. And, we're still masking. And, like, nobody else is, just about. Which is kind of hilarious, because then I'll see parents bitching on one of the Facebook pages about how their school's only been back open for how many whatevers, and now my kid has COVID, and I'm like, well, you know, maybe those masks that you were so angry about were actually doing something. Maybe, you know, maybe. It's definitely a majority different way of thinking than we do around here, so, you know, it's like, okay, sure. If we could up and shift areas of living, we certainly would at this point, because yep, but that's not possible right now, so I just kind of have to take a deep breath and be like, okay, I was very surprised in a good way that the clinic that the husband goes to was like, oh no, you have to wear a mask coming in here. They like told you that on your appointment reminder phone call, that they are 100% masks. They don't give a flying fuck. You're gonna wear a mask in here. And something fell. And in fact, that someone's making dinner in the kitchen, sorry. They're definitely enforcing that, and his actually broke while he was in there, and they gave him a replacement, and it was like 20 times better than the one that he had gone in with, and he's like, oh, cool. He's like, thanks. Alright. I'm still not sure if that's quite thick enough over there, but we'll see. Let's start over in here. get this side filled in. As much as we can. With this pass, we still might need to overlap that a bit, because that was maybe a little thin. It's tough because the spot we're in right now, I did have a little bit extra thin spots, so.
Were you planning on having any of those french fries tonight?
The ones in our freezer that I opened? Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
Because I'm making some myself.
Okay, just save me some.
Yeah, that's why I was asking.
Okay. You're not doing meatballs? Alright. He's been having rough food anxiety the past week, so it's been a rough go of it lately, to say the least. Oh, get this extra fuzz, put that in our little fuzz bin. Let go. Did not want to let go. Alright. So let's see how that looks once we get the rest of this kind of worked in here. Let's see if we decide to put a slightly thicker bit over that. We'll see, we'll see. All right. Yeah, see, when you don't have it under any sort of tension control, it just vanishes on you. It's just like, oh, okay. Not necessarily a bad thing, it's just that can happen. Alright, yeah, that's kind of thin in that spot, so let's get a bit more floof. Let me grab this set here. I'm not trying to twist it too tight, but do want a little bit of a twist there, just so it's not quite so thin. I mean, we're slowly making progress here down the side of this guy. So, yeah, so if you want to see as much of the same as what we're doing now, as to what we did to finish this up and get this in, you know, that's on the YouTube channel. That's where part 3 is. For anyone that's actually keeping track. I might start trying to find time to work on this off stream just so that we can get to the decorating bits together. That's really the more fun parts. And we still have our Christmas tree to do too. Most of Christmas tree might get done off stream, because that's gonna be scritchy. That's gonna have us going into the styrofoam. Because the one night I was sitting here just kind of working away, husband was up late, he couldn't sleep. So he was trying to work on his one D&D game. And he's like, okay, I'm going to bed. And he came over and he's like, I am immensely glad that you have that foam pad now. And I'm like, huh? He goes, oh, the stab, 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 screech, screech, screech through the styrofoam. And I was like, oh. It's like, well, you told me it wouldn't bother you. He goes, yeah, and then I heard you stabbing through it for like an hour and a half. And I'm like, oh, well, you could have said something. I would have, you know, went and worked on something else until you went to bed. He's like, no, it's alright. Like, I'm just glad that's not what it is on the daily basis. It's like, oh, okay. Sure. Alright. So, let's see. We'll pull this guy off. Still looks like two little tiki huts on the back. Alright, let's grab this section here. Okay, and this guy. Now, in here's a little bit thin, so I might do something in regards to that here. But let's see if we can get a bit more progress here. When we start getting too much more fussy. I know, you know, I say now's the time to fix it, but I feel like I'm gonna have a couple of other thin spots I want to address while I'm at it. So, I mean, we're about maybe halfway down this side now. Everything has been swollen lately. All of my joints. Just angry. We started trying to walk regularly again. We had gotten out of the habit over the summer doing so regularly because it was so hot. Even at night it wasn't really cooling down much, and I was like, oh, he doesn't do that well with it being quite that excessively hot and like no air moving. So a lot of the times we would skip or just be like, okay, maybe not today, and then it's probably why it feels like I'm missing chunks of time this past week, because we did go on a couple of walks at night. They weren't very long walks, but they were a couple block loop. But dang, doing those, I'm like, oh, we are so out of shape, yo. I'm like, this is sad. I was like, we used to be able to walk this, like it was nothing. And lately, it's been a little bit of a challenge. I'm like beat by the time we get back, and it was only like a 10-minute, 15-minute walk. Craziness. Although last night we did it after I had dinner, so that probably didn't help because I had dinner sitting up pretty high because I had just finished eating. So our chalk lines have held in pretty good on this piece, considering how much we've been flipping it around and moving it and all that. Alrighty. I feel like there was just a cat behind me. On the floor. The floor bounced. I hope it was a cat. And not something else that I need to be concerned with. Oh, yes. Hi, Littles. Why are you so angry? Hi. Ow! Little!
I know she's gonna do that.
That was uncalled for. Why are you mad? She just bit me. I have teeth marks in my hand and kitty spit. Oh my goodness. She is temperamental. She jumped up in the window. I rubbed her side, and then she licked it clean. I'm like, oh, well, excuse me. I don't know why she's so mad at me today. I think she's mad because the boys have been laying on the bed. And she's very much not wanting a whole lot to do with them. She's kind of okay with Cow. I think Cow's a bit younger than the other guys. He's not exactly close to her age, but he's closer than the others, I think. Although, no, Ed is younger. That's right. Ed is younger than Cow, but Cow's more rough and tumble and likes to get into trouble. So I think she views Cow as more of an equal. She just doesn't like the other two. She's like, no. You have displeased me by being in my presence. You looked at me, and I am mad. Because she usually sleeps on the end of the bed, but the boys have taken over the bed. Like the past week, 2 weeks. So I think she's been a bit pissy, shall we say, about that fact. Alright, let's flatten this back out. Okay, so, I mean, it's a little bit of a striping there, but it's not terrible. Alright, so, let's see about getting this section. I mean, we are making progress. Fast progress? No. Progress nonetheless. Okay, so let's see here. So we're getting there. Very much so. So, are you guys working on any seasonal gifts? Do you make your Christmas gifts or holiday gifts, whichever holiday you celebrate, to give to others? Some people have a strict policy that they only make gifts for others. We're broke, so the past couple of years, Russell and I haven't done gifts for each other. We've just been trying to focus on dealing with other people that we need to do gifts for. Okay. The sound is much easier on the ears than it is through the styrofoam, I gotta say. My ears were getting a bit irritated last night. I was like, ugh. It's like, am I done yet? Working on that bass, and I was like, nope. Nope, nope, nope. We are not done yet. We are far from done yet. Alright, let me carefully pop that guy up there. Alright, so it's still a bit darker than the other one, but I should be okay. Alright, let's grab a section of floofy floof. And we'll see about getting our next not layer, our next line, row, I guess row. Getting our next row done here. Well, that was definitely a thicker bit of fluff there. Did not realize that was quite so thick in that section. Alright, give me 1 second here. Time to stretch out my arms real quick. Okay. All right. So let's get back into business here. I mean, we're getting there. We're getting there. This guy is going to need a bit of extra attention as we do this cross pass here. But that's fine. Hopefully I won't need it to be quite this thick, because this is a little bit of, not tough, but it's a little bit more slow going when it's quite that thick on the first pass. Okay. Alright, so, you know, getting there. Kind of need to finish out that side, though. Not quite all the way across to there. What was that? Oh, it was P-Butt. Parkouring. Scaring the shit out of us because we think something's fallen. He's very heavy for a cat. Like, he makes heavy sounds for a cat. Like, he's not overweight. At least it doesn't feel like it. But when he lands on stuff, he lands on stuff. Are you actually cooking right now? No. Okay. Didn't know if you had a timer going. Alright. So we'll get this put in here. Well, at least that's got that side filled in. Alright, looking pretty good. All things considered. It's got this bottom third bit here. Kind of left to deal with. Oh, I do see that our lines here are a little wonky woo. As they seem to tend to get. The other one didn't quite do that. I've been trying not to pull up from one specific spot constantly. Been trying to vary that a little bit. But that could also be just because we're not quite completely done on this side yet. I feel like we haven't pulled in the fiber all that heavily. So, getting this tucked into here. And we're still going to do a final look over and see if there's any glaring spots that need addressing. Oh, don't be meowing at me now and be cute. That you want attention after you bit me. Brat. I don't know if her meow came over. It was so tiny. And so quiet. I barely heard it. What, ma'am? Meow. That's it. Enough with them teeth, ma'am. So much sass with that one. And I don't think these are necessarily love bites all of the time. She just seems to lead with her face. Constantly. Oh, yeah, we kind of went uphill on that one, didn't we? Oh well. I mean, it is me we're dealing with, so it's not really all of that unusual necessarily. Kinda not surprised. Okay, let's flip this guy back over. Okay, so we need some more fluffits. Just a bit. Okay, so this side's a little off, so I guess we'll come over here. And we'll start getting him. Oh, you're just gonna. Okay, that's fine. They wanted to do their own thing, I guess. Say that's okay. Alright, now this guy kind of overlapped into here. And we'll see if that helps try to even that out a little bit, maybe. Maybe. Hopefully. Okay, that's not too bad. I mean, that's kind of a spot right there, so since I was able to actually move that aside, let's just go ahead and cover that up right now, because, you know, that would be a problem. Okay. Alright, that's still a little loosey-goosey right there. Alright, that's a little better. Okay, next bit of fluff and stuff. Alright, I think just for a change of pace, we'll come down here. And just kind of take a look at our bottom section. Ow, that was my elbow. I think they call it a funny bone because other people laugh when you hit it. Or because it feels funny when you do hit it. Probably more likely the second one there, but that first option could also be possible. Alright. So that bit actually spread out a bit further than I was really thinking it was going to, so we're probably gonna have to put in a couple of patches in here. Are you waiting on me?
No.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Okay. Wasn't sure if we were actually eating together or not, so. I know what time approximately to stop at tonight. Yeah, we're gonna have to patch part of this. Patch is really not quite the right word. Double up in a couple areas. Second pass, third pass, whatever you want to call it. Over in here. Or it's a little bit thinner. And we necessarily want it to be. Alright, so tomorrow we'll be back working on this again. Next stream day will be Thursday. We'll be wrapping up our World of Warcraft WoW challenges, bloodthirsty leveling, and the working man. With luck, they will be successful. And Friday we'll be back in on Planet Zoo. And I hope to finish the entrance building at the very least. I feel like we should be able to do that. I would hope. I would hope. Alright, get this guy. Worked into here. As best as we can. So, I mean, we're getting there. We're getting there. We just have this chunk right in here. Mostly. To finish filling in. I just need to thicken this up in here. Because it's a little bit thin. Stretching out my shoulder. It starts to get tired after a little while. Especially when we're going quite so non-stop. Like we're not changing colors or, you know, doing a whole lot of in-between stuff. Alright, you know what? We're gonna pop this guy up. Here, just a minute. Okay, now. Alright, let's see here about... getting this worked into here. I'm trying to get it worked into there. Didn't really look like it was attaching there for a second. There we go. Now we're in business. right. This all tapped in. Okay. Now I think we're not gonna quite get to putting the outlines on. I think I need to stop here because everything. It's been an angry body day, so everything's kind of mad, and we don't want it to get worse. So. I will finish this section up tonight, though, at some point, or try to. So that way tomorrow we can just jump into doing our icing work on this guy. As best as we can. So. That's gonna be it for today. Thank you guys for stopping by and getting a more in-depth look at a real-time process of putting this stuff on. And tomorrow I'll try to get this sorted at some point tonight. Tomorrow we'll do our icing outlines and do a little bit of decorating on these two. And yeah, so that'll be on tap for tomorrow. Thank you guys for likes, the retweets, and all that. Don't forget to follow all the socially things somewhere down below. There should be links. And I will see you tomorrow. Have a good one.